Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's live stream. As today we have NASCAR 07 on the channel for you guys, the UAW Ford 500, and this is going to be a special race because it is not only a Talladega Sunday afternoon race on NASCAR 07, but it is the first of two streams on this Sunday afternoon as we have a double header for you guys. Of course, we will still be having the live commentary of today's Go Bowling at the Glen for the Watkins Glen NASCAR Cup Series race later this afternoon. That will start at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right after the end of this stream. And as for this stream, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get right into this. We are on the pole with Mark Martin in our next Revenge Tour race number 16 of the season. Coming in with a points lead over Jimmy Johnson, who qualified in second to our outside. The green flag is in the air, and we are racing on this bad, fast racetrack. I gotta pause it because I just realized my volume's up way too loud on this game. There we go. You guys are probably gonna be able to hear me a little better without me having to scream into the mic. 500 miles, 188 laps at Talladega here this afternoon. I like donuts and NASCAR. Thanks for tuning in. Jimmy Johnson getting that draft from Tony Stewart. Stewart won the last race that we just ran earlier in the week, Monday afternoon. We ended up having a race, and Stewart was the winner. That would have been the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Mark Martin ended up with a top 10, just outside the top 10. We finished in 11th that day. Stewart trying to pick up where he left off by leading the opening lap of this race at Dega. And it's going to be close at the start-finish line. It is going to be Tony Stewart from 4th place leading the opening lap. So as Stewart leads lap 1, Jimmy Johnson in 2nd place to his outside. Martin going to give the bottom open for Dale Jr. to get around him so he can draft behind the 6 and try to get up there to the lead. It doesn't look like Martin's going to be a good lead car in the draft here, so he'll push Earnhardt. We'll bump draft down the back straightaway. Field already breaking up into 2 packs. You can see there's a second group up on the track map that has fallen away from the lead group. Martin getting some clean air on the nose there. Didn't want to risk bump drafting Jr. in the center of the corner like he did in the middle of the back straightaway that last time. And he'll just share draft behind him now through the tri-ovals. Tony Stewart will lead the first 2 laps of the race. A little bit of a tandem race here at the front of the pack. Johnson not going to be able to get to the inside of the 20 there. Not a lot of help to be able to do it. Big run off turn 2 for Mark Martin. He'll look to the inside of Earnhardt. And he will take over 3rd place once again. Stewart throwing a bit of a block on Jimmy Johnson. Johnson not quite going to get there. Martin to the outside, but not enough help. Earnhardt not too close behind him. And that one lead change, of course, is Stewart taking the lead after not qualifying on the pole. And here comes Martin now, quickly underneath Jimmy Johnson. And Stewart with the block to the inside as he'll hold on to the lead again. Tony to the outside as he kind of forced Martin into the wall. And I'm sure Mark Martin didn't appreciate that. Pulled a Denny Hamlin on me. All the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Martin to the lead into turn 3 as he blocks Stewart. A clean one at that. Back to the bottom. And he's going to try to pick up 5 bonus points for leading the lap as Stewart has done. But Stewart sneaks back to the inside in the middle of the corner. Johnson going to go with the 6th. They banged fenders off of turn 4. And that will allow for Mark Martin to hold on to the lead. And he will get 5 bonus points for leading his first lap of the afternoon. Wade Solinsky, thanks for tuning in. That 20 car of Tony Stewart looking very, very strong in the early laps. And he is throwing some terrible blocks as well. Martin staying in it. Little slingshot move on the backstretch. And back to the lead again goes the 6. Martin going to try to lead as many laps as possible today so he can attempt to try to get the most laps led. It's been a few races since he's been able to do that. And again, just trying to get back in contention here. Of course, Tony Stewart coming off that win in the 600. Mark Martin finished 11th. Led about 60 laps in that race, but didn't quite have the race-winning speed he would have hoped for. And the caution is out already on lap 6, our first caution of the day at Talladega, and that did not take long. On the front stretch, oh boy. Is that the big one? Nope, not quite the big one, but there were a few cars that went spinning down towards the inside of the racetrack. Oh, I didn't mean to skip it. My bad. Tough to tell who was all in that. A few cars, though. Too early in the run to pit. And we'll have a single file restart at lap 10. So green flag back in the air. Martin blocking for his life here as they're trying to get up to speed. Ryan Newman back into the mix with his Penske teammate Kurt Busch right behind him. Penske with 3 wins this year. Busch with 1, Newman with 2. As Dodge is showing some speed, Jeremy Mayfield in a Dodge also has a win at Bristol on the season. So we've got 4 of the first 15 races won. Mark Martin, of course, winning 8 races. No other Roush car has won. And Jimmy Johnson to the lead with help from his Hendrick teammate Jeff Gordon on the restart. First lap led for Johnson here today. Martin trying to get a run. Cuts way down to the inside. Gets underneath Jeff Gordon. Maybe going after Johnson for the lead here in the middle of the corner. Jimmy all the way to the outside. And then back to the inside goes Mark, but Jeff Gordon's already there. Nope, never mind. 6 just got underneath the 48, and they'll drag race down the backstretch. Martin with the preferred inside lane. Gordon not with his teammate. Stewart's on the outside instead. Martin trying to side draft the 48 car just a little bit. That's all the way back towards the bottom, middle of the tri-oval. Who will lead this lap at the line? It's going to be Mark Martin. Phil Moore, welcome into the stream as well. Now Jeff Gordon trying to cut to the bottom of the racetrack. These guys are racing here in the early laps. Of course, having that caution middle of the pack, taking out a few cars. Now in this game, I noticed it counts lead changes, even though it's not a technical lead change until you lead a lap back at the start-finish line. It only counts passes for the lead, so it's probably going to say we've had like 5-6 lead changes, even though we really only had 3 or 4 so far. Martin led that last lap, and he's going to lead this lap as well. Jeff Gordon does not get credited with 5 bonus points that time around. See Kevin Harvick in the mix. Kurt Busch going to block him. He's in between the 2 Penske cars on the inside lane, and Greg Biffle's the 3rd car on the outside behind Tony Stewart. Bit of a gap there. Dale Jr. underneath Biffle. So a lot of heavy hitters, former champs as of where we're at in this time period of NASCAR, of course, towards the front of the field. Don't see any underdogs up here, at least to this point. But obviously only 13 laps in. I'm sure Dale Jr. is going to be one of the tough ones to beat today. Might have a good chance to get his first win of the season. All the way to the bottom, trying to block Jeff Gordon. He's mirror driving every single lap here. Everybody's so desperate to try to lead laps, especially in the early going. Trying to set themselves up to try to lead as many as possible here by the end of the race. Might be 3 wide for second. Nope. Johnson was able to get up in front of Jeff Gordon. Bottom lane open for a while. Johnson moves down in front of Kurt Busch. Mark Martin staying up there for now. Now he'll cut to the inside. He's checking the 48. 48. Moving back and forth quite a bit. Made a decision when the second half of the race started. next season you'll be watching? Are you talking about for the live commentary streams? Yeah, we are at Talladega here today. Let me know in the chat if there's a lag issue right now, and I'll try to figure that out. 15 laps into the race, I'm just kind of noticing that there could be a potential lag going on. This front group's kind of broken up into about 8 or 9 cars. Not that far ahead of that giant pack. There's a little bit of space though, maybe half a second or so. Last couple of laps, the front 3 or 4 have kind of been more single file. Still double wide back around where Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman are in 4th. Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman staying with each other. They're trying to work together here to potentially win this race. A lot of teammates up at the front of the field. Martin doesn't really have anybody directly near him. Greg Biffle's a few positions back yet. .48.720 that last lap for Martin, his fastest lap of the day, and that was even with leading, not in the draft. No issue? Okay, that's good. I just wanted to make sure, there's like a box on the YouTube studio on my laptop that kind of shows the stream as it's going. For whatever reason, it looks like it kind of like stops after like 10 seconds and then like fast forward back to where I'm at the point. And I wasn't sure if that was the same thing for you guys that was going on or not. And also let me know if the mic audio is good, that you guys can hear me loud and clear. Martin almost gave up the bottom getting into turns 1 and 2 for Johnson to get a run. Kevin Harvick might have pulled out a line on Jimmy, and that is going to be the case. He'll get to the inside of the 48 car in the back straightaway. Not going to get enough of a run getting into the corner. Martin staying high in front of Johnson for now. Now he'll cut to the bottom in the center of the corner on Harvick. He's getting a good push from Ryan Newman. Jeff Gordon still splitting the 12 and the 2 apart a little bit. And Harvick up now to P2. So Martin's led a lot of laps here in the early going. Qualifying on the pole definitely helps. You can tell he's got good single car speed to stay up here at the front of the pack as a result of that. I think the last time we were at Talladega, we qualified like 14th or something, just outside the top 10. And ended up with a 10th place finish that day. So looking to rebound from that first Talladega finish. Of course, Martin won the Daytona 500 in our only Daytona race so far in the season. Audio's good too, awesome. Yeah, it might have been a little loud there the first lap or two. I didn't realize my volume was up on the gameplay. Turn that back down pretty quickly. If you're just tuning in, we had a caution at lap 6, 3 to 4 car crash in the tri-oval, middle of the pack. A couple fantasy drivers were involved in it. No heavy hitters involved. And now we are at lap 20, and Mark Martin has led all but, I believe, just one lap since the restart. Johnson led the first lap following the restart. Martin's led every lap since, and that restart took place at lap 10. And Mark was trading the lead back and forth with Tony Stewart at the very beginning of the race. Halfway out of gas this point in the run, lap 20, but again, we had about 3 or 4 caution laps as well in there, so to see, and I'm sure green flag pit stop's going to kind of space the pack out quite a bit. Coming Harvick, get underneath. Got to make sure, of course, you get down to pit road speed. It is more lenient in these EA games. 70 miles per hour is the pit road speed limit, so we'll have to back it all the way down to 55, but still, from nearly 200 miles an hour down to 70 is quite a bit. Very easy to hit pit road with a speeding penalty, so can't afford to do that today. I think I did that in the truck race at Talladega, and that cost me a good chance to try to win. Gonna try not to do that here. It put me back in traffic. I think we only had a couple cautions the whole race. I couldn't really get through the pack. But I also didn't have as good of single truck speed in that one as what we do here with Mark Martin in this Cup race. So that's another reason why that probably didn't work out for us. So we started slipping back a little bit after leading those opening laps. I'm surprised he went from 4th to 1st on that first lap of the race anyway. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. Martin swinging way wide, trying to block the 29 of Kevin Harvick, and gives up a little bit of room on the bottom there. Jeff Gordon was looking for a run. It stalled out just a little bit. And Mark Martin again will hold on to the lead. Not enough cars on the bottom for Jeff Gordon to carry that run off turn 2 when he pulled to the inside of Kevin Harvick. Newman didn't go with him. He stayed with the 29 and the 6 out in front of the field on the top instead. This car feels a little on the tight side, I've noticed. Which is kind of good in a sense, just because of the bumps at this place. It's very easy for the air pressure to build up over the course of the run, the car to get very loose. So it's kind of nice that we're halfway through the run and it's still a little snug. Probably make a slight wedge adjustment when we make that first stop, but at the same time, I'm not going to be taking 4 tires, so that might end up freeing the car up a little bit too. Might not go with an adjustment right away on this first run. Martin's just been blocking for his life at the front of the field right now. A lot of guys up here that have not led a lap yet to get 5 bonus points. It'll be interesting to see who's going to be one of the last cars to potentially pit as well. That could dictate some new leaders, of course, in the midst of all the battling. Martin doing a great job holding on to the lead for now. Yeah, I knew I gave up too much at the bottom. I just had to be committed with the top. Kevin Harvick not going to be able to shut the door to take the lead away from Mark Martin, though. He's got Jeff Gordon behind him. Martin trying to side draft a little bit, back straightaway into turn 3. And Kevin Harvick going to take his first lead of the race. Harvick out in front. The Talladega Super Speedway, a little bobbing and weaving here for Mark Martin. He's got a big run behind the 29, and he gets to the inside. Can he clear him? Crew chief, or I should say spotter, calling clear, and yep, Martin is clear off turn 2, back into the lead again. Massive run on that outside lane, getting off turn 2 there to be able to pull that slingshot off. Jeff Gordon clears Harvick for second, and he's trying to go after Martin for the lead, looking low into the tri-oval. Mark blocking back towards the outside again. Mark going to do the same. Fastest lap of the race that last time for the 6, 48.5. 8.2. Still plenty of room for improvement there on the speed charts. big question is here, who will be the first cars to head to pit road to make that green flag pit stop? I'd probably say right around lap 35 or 36 we're going to start to see guys pit. Well, then again, we had a caution, so it might be a little bit after that before we see that first pit stop. Kind of floating around in the middle there, almost got split by Harvick and Gordon. I think if Harvick had enough help behind him, Johnson's a few car lengths behind, that he couldn't really help the 29. And then they kind of came together and were side drafted a little too much, allowed for the 6 to get back to the outside of the racetrack in front of Gordon. Stewart to the bottom of Jeff just a little bit in the middle of that last corner lap for the 29 of Harvick to clear. Harvick trying to get a run, and he is all over Mark Martin here as they get back to the start-finish line. Martin's blocking for dear life. Everybody racing like it's the last laps of the race, and we're only 29 laps in. And now the 29 will get to the inside of the 6 in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Side by side for the lead. That didn't work. Got up against the wall a little bit off turn 2 there. Oh boy, a little bit of contact. And that could have been treacherous. Definitely got the 6 car a bit wide, and it's going to fall back to about 4th. Kevin Harvick out in front again. Martin settles back into line. Stuart Gordon going to the outside. 2 Chevys trying to get by another one. Johnson in 5th. Got 4 Chevys and a Ford in the top 5. Gordon to the lead. Stewart trying to go 3. Not going to be able to do it. And I believe this will be Jeff Gordon's first lap lead of the day if he holds on back to the start-finish line. 6 of Mark Martin's got a rocket ship into the tri-oval as he pulls to the inside of Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart. And there's 5 bonus points for Jeff Gordon. Harvick dropped in line behind the 6, so does Stewart. Might help Martin get back to the lead again. And he does. He clears Gordon, middle of the corner, but now Stewart's going to get to the inside of Mark. Mark might have moved up a little too soon. Spotter calling clear, and down to the bottom of the back straightaway goes Mark Martin again as he holds on to the race lead into turn 3. A lot of back and forth racing in front of the pack. Tell you what, if this race goes like this all race long, the amount of lead changes we've already seen in the early 32 laps, it's going to be an instant classic. 1/8 of a tank of gas left for Martin at this point in the run. .548 that last lap for the 6. Oh man, all over that apron. Turns 1 and 2. Will bobble. Of course, with Martin leading the most laps here in the early going, he's obviously used probably a little bit more gas than everybody else in the pack around him. I'd like to go to lap 35, 36. I don't want to be one of the first cars to pit. I'll probably come out by myself anyway, considering I'm going to end up going fuel only. And make that stop. Just have to wait and see when that stop will be. Mark DeMars, thanks for tuning in. Stewart is behind Gordon, moved down in between the 48 and the 29. Just a pack of Chevys up here. Mark Martin's the lone Ford, and then there's a couple Dodges of Newman and Kurt Busch that are a little bit behind this top 5 now. But again, that front, really 8 cars really started to pull away. Greg Biffle got to peel off from about 7th or 8th place and come into the pits. He was back there with the Penske cars. Mark Martin staying out another lap here to lap 35. That was kind of that threshold mark of when he wanted to pit. It's going to be between lap 35 and 36. But we started to see the stops there at lap 34, just down in front of Stewart there, middle of the corner. Hesitation before moving down. I wasn't sure if I was clear right away or not. But definitely quite a few cars on pit road. I'm probably going to pit this time. I don't want to risk running out of gas. Oh, well, I don't know if we're going to be able to pit because Stewart's going to get underneath Martin. A little bit of contact, and no, there was no chance Martin was going to be able to make it there. Have to wait one more lap. Lap cars down to the bottom of the racetrack. Stay on the apron, boys. That was close. Scott Riggs almost blended up into us. Harvick again looking to the inside. Martin really wanted to pit that last time, and he couldn't do it. Now he's stuck on the top again as Harvick got underneath him. Let me in, Harvick. He is not going to let us in. I just got to hope he's going to pit this time, too. I don't think he is. He's kind of off the bottom a little bit. Nope. Oh, Stewart's pitting. That opened it up. Okay. Coming in a little hot. Just got down to pit road speed. It's still going to be a no-tire, fuel-only pit stop, so splash and go for Mark Martin. Unfortunately, I did lock the tires up a little bit there, so hopefully that'll be okay. The only reason I did is because I was coming in hot. I had to come from the outside to the bottom. I couldn't get the car woed up as quick as I wanted to without locking the tires up. Kurt Busch also peeling off from that lead group. Ashton G, thanks for tuning in. Kevin Harvick led that last lap with the 6 of Martin pitting when he did. We'll see if we actually get all the way through green flag pit stops. The other Roush cars are in right now. Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray. Harvick's in from the lead. And Martin's going to have a gigantic gap over everybody with going fuel only. So he's not going to have any drafting help. And this is in the hopes of buying him more time to lead more laps. So on pit road for a little less than 10 seconds. And that was it. Pit box, I should say. Should be about a 4-tire stop now, but that's not the case at this time period of NASCAR. Of course, now we've got the single lugs. And Jimmy Johnson going to lead that lap at the line, so that's another lap led for him. And Martin will lead the next lap when he circles back around the leaders that are still coming out of the pits. There's Gordon, Harvick, Johnson, and Mark Martin easily back to the lead as those three trying to draft together and get back up to speed as quickly as possible to run down the 6. Caution is out again. Lap 38, just after green flag pit stops and just after Mark Martin retakes the lead. Good thing I got ahead of him when I did. Oh boy. Look out. Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers getting into it in the middle of 1 and 2. And almost slammed into the back of Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett was probably looking out of his rear view there, and he was putting a little extra brown on that fire suit. What can Code Brown do for you? Wow. Yeah, they were so close to slamming into him. All right, green flag back in the air, lap 42, following our second caution of the race. That was a Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers yellow. So Mark Martin again back out in front. Just got through green flag stops. Everybody pitted, so nobody pitting during that caution period there. Jeff Green up in the mix in the 66. Cycled pretty well out of the pits. That caution was big for him because I don't think he would have been in the top 10 before that. But he was still getting up to speed because he was one of the last cars pitting. He was just behind that group of 3 of Harvick, Gordon, and Johnson. And here comes Jimmy to the outside looking for the lead. And he's got it. Martin tried to get up into line as quickly as he could, and he gets kind of weeded out. Harvick trying to side draft off of the 48 car. Here comes the 6. Trying to push the 29. 3 wide for the lead if Tony Stewart can get there. A lot of bump drafting for Martin to the back of the 29 of Harvick. Six, pushing the 29 back straightaway. Just trying to push the 48 out there as well. Just can't get to the bottom yet. Too many cars. Just gotta hold our line. Caution again. Oh boy. And I don't know if somebody got loose under Gordon there or what happened, but the yellow flag's out. Back in the pack. And it's debris, it looks like, off Ryan Newman's car, who was in that incident with Vickers moments ago. It's like J.J. Yaley trying to work himself up there, too. 18 car. So Newman shedding debris, bringing out our 3rd caution of the race already. I don't have a face cam set up in my, or anything set up to have the face cam on in my room when I'm doing these video game streams for right now, so that is why there's no face cam. Alright, well, green flag back in the air again. Lap 47 this time. This time Martin's not restarted in the lead. He's going to be back at 5th. And we'll see if he can keep up with these guys. Kurt Busch just behind him here. Trying not to lose too many more spots. Top 4 cars pulling away on the restart. Fanning out the 3 wide for 2nd. They're getting way out ahead. Kurt Busch, J.J. Yaley getting by Mark Martin. Martin's car just doesn't fire off well that first lap after the restart. Super Speedway ace Michael Waltrip, 55 car. MWR trying to get up in to the top 5 here as well. Kurt Busch would be in 5th. Big push there from the 6. Kurt was in front of the 18, moved up right in front of Mark. Mark didn't lift. Oh boy, man, I did not push him squarely there. Thought I caught him too much in the right rear corner panel for a second. I was going to turn him. Alright, well. Back to 6th now, number 6. We do have older tires compared to everybody else at the front of the field, too. Fuel only, we would have cycled out a couple seconds ahead of everybody, trying to maintain that gap as best as we could have, but it didn't work out very well with the quick caution right after green flag pit stops. So the former teammates of Kurt Busch and Mark Martin trying to work together here to catch that group of 4 at the front of the field. And J.J. Yaley, Michael Waltrip, who are just behind these two, trying to catch up as well. They're just not really able to do that right now. Keeps running the outside in the middle of the corner, so that's why Mark's bump drafting down the straightaways as much as he has. Not so much on the front stretch with the tri-oval, but on the back straightaway, definitely trying to take advantage of it. Lap 50. Again, 3 cautions so far at Talladega. Wonder that damage on Newman's car, how much speed it's going to knock out of it, because he was running very well before that. Martin again to the bump draft behind Kurt Busch. And they are definitely closing that gap as they enter turn 3. It's working. Johnson Gordon trying to control this pack out in front of the field. And Martin pulling out on Kurt Busch now. Feels it's time for him to go as he gets back into the top 5. Carries that momentum on the front stretch behind Harvick. Jumps to the outside behind Stewart. Slingshot back to the bottom. 6 cars quick. Manage our runs out well enough. 24 and 48 started to draft themselves away from the 20 and the 29 behind him. But here's Mark Martin. Just has a ridiculously fast race car. Gordon with a block, so Mark's just going to push him. Johnson trying to block the 24. And the 6 cuts to the bottom for second. And he's got it. And we'll see if he can actually get by Johnson before they get back to the start-finish line. Crazy run into the tri-oval. He's easily going to be able to do... Oh, no, 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 no! That was not timed out very well. Johnson up into the wall after contact from Martin, who slid up a little too early in the tri-oval. That is not what I wanted to do there. I feel bad for that. I was just a second too early moving up. Waited a split second longer. We easily had the run to clear him. Should have waited until we got out of the tri-oval. Up for Gordon to catch to the back of the 6 again quickly, and now he's lost his teammate after Johnson got into the wall. He's probably back with that other pack of cars. 6th place probably. Top 5 still up here. Busch hanging on behind Stewart and Harvick barely. Yeah, I feel bad. I hope Jimmy gets back up here. Hit the wall pretty hard too. That was the same thing Tony Stewart did to me early in the race, when he led those first like 3 or 4 laps before I got back out in front of him. I was on the back straightaway and I was already in the outside, so I didn't hit the wall that hard, but he did kind of force me up there. That was the same thing. Only difference was I was in the midst of passing Johnson when I moved up, versus Stewart. I was trying to get by him when he moved up. Too much defense. Mine was just ill-timed offense. Especially with Johnson being second in points too. I hate to do that. Guy I'm racing for the championship with. Gordon back out in front again. Mark Martin going to try to take it from him again. On the back stretch. We'll time it out, clear him into turn 3. I believe Gordon, Harvick, Johnson, Stewart, and Martin are the only drivers to lead laps today. 5 drivers have led in the first 54 laps. All Chevys except for the 6. Chevys came to play today. Surprised I haven't seen Dale Jr. up here at all yet. He was kind of hanging around at the back of that lead group of like 8 or 9 cars at the start, but he couldn't really get into the top 5, and I haven't seen him since the restart. The last restart we had. The last 2, really. The lap 38 restart and the lap, what, 42 or 43 restart? So we pitted at lap 35. We had 1 caution in the first run. We've already had 2 cautions during the second fuel run. So we might be able to go a little bit past lap 70 before we end up hitting pit road again. Because we aren't even halfway on fuel yet. We would already be less than 15 laps away from then. So definitely going to be able to go a little further on fuel. Looks like Kurt Busch kind of losing the top 4. Shows how fast the Chevys are today. Raina Martinez, welcome to the stream. alternate through the different camera angles once again. Final time in today's race we'll do this. Still got a couple field passes to go through with our Roush teammates of Kenseth, Biffle, and McMurray. We'll wait a little bit on that. I'll try to get through the second set of green flag pit stops before we do a field pass. Our front tires are wearing out a little bit. The rear tire's still holding up strong. I think that's because the car's still a little on the snug side. I didn't make any adjustments with that splash and go pit stop that we had back at lap 35. And the main reason I didn't make an adjustment is because I knew I wasn't going to take tires, so I was hesitant to take wedge out of it, assuming that staying on the same tires I still started the race with was going to potentially backfire, because the car would already continue to kind of balloon up. This is an old surface too. Kind of surprised I was able to take care of my tires that first run as well as I did. But I mean, we were leading, so I wasn't have to work in traffic a whole lot. I burned more fuel as a result of that because I was one of the first cars to hit pit road. But I think we'll be okay with this being a 500-mile race. That I don't think we're going to be pushing borderline on fuel at all. Guess we'll just have to continue to see how the cautions play out, because we have had 3 of them, and I would imagine we haven't seen the last caution in this race. Gordon may get hung out a little bit wide in the tri-oval. NASCAR 08 pretty disastrous. I have to find out myself. Yeah, I've never played NASCAR 08 or 09, so I am curious when we do move to those games how it's going to feel. Played a lot of 05, 07 growing up. 07 on the PSP and then chased for the Cup 05. But yeah, I've never played 08 or 09. Kind of fun to use the car tomorrow with the wing. I've never played a NASCAR game that they've had that, except for I think maybe, I can't remember if NASCAR Unleashed had the, I know I had the car tomorrow, but I can't remember if it was with the spoiler or with the wing. So it'll just be kind of a different look, I guess, for me playing a game like that. Front 4 can get side by side with us. I think Kurt Busch might be able to hang on with this lead group. Still feel bad Jimmy Johnson fell back into that second pack. I just don't think there's enough cars in this pack like we had at the initial start where they were able to get runs and get around me. They haven't been able to in this run. I have older tires, so you would imagine they'd have a chance to do so, but there's only like 4 cars. Kurt Busch a little too far behind versus we had 8 or 9 earlier, so a lot tougher to try to get a push from behind to build that run up. With the pole sitter, you know he's going to have a lot of speed when he is out in front compared to a lot of other cars when they're out in front. I think we have the fastest car here, honestly. I feel like we're like the only ones that have been able to get to the front and kind of control the pack. I mean, at times it looked like Jimmy Johnson could do it, but mean, Stewart at the very beginning, it looked like he was fast in front, but when he was in traffic, he didn't look quite as quick. I think we have the most balanced race car in the draft and, you know, out of the draft in the lead. Stewart's right there now. Went back up after cutting to the bottom there initially, and I think Gordon was able to side draft and pull the 20 car back a little bit more. That's what Kurt Busch needs. These guys finally pulling out of line a little bit. They haven't been able to get side by side with Mark Martin quite yet, but getting there. Definitely going to be able to go beyond lap 70 before we make that second stop. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. In the second, Gordon kind of falling back a little bit at fourth place position. Stewart to the back of the 29 of Harvick, trying to give them a push. And there's just not enough cars up here. And I would imagine, again, we get to green flag pit stops, it'll even space these cars out a little more. Quarter tank of gas left. Playing the run, still lap 66. If I had to guess, we're probably going to be able to make it to about lap 73, 74 before we're going to have to pit. And if we get a caution before then obviously we'll pit during the yellow. It was a drastic move to the outside, trying to block Harvick. Kind of lost him out of the rear view. I'm like, oh, he might be getting close to the outside lane. Definitely was up there, just not enough of a run to get by us. Bumps. We're moving the car around quite a bit. I mean, we have 68 lap old tires at Talladega. I think I'm only going to go right sides only when we make that stop. Try not to lock them up like I did last time. It wasn't too bad of a lockup, but still would have hurt them a little bit. I think that's part of the reason why only the front tires were in the yellow on that tire wear indicator, so we're just going to try to have a quick stop again. It'll be a little slower taking right sides instead of just fuel, but definitely asking for a lot out of her left side tires. 48.22 won that last lap, fastest of the race for Mark Martin. 68 laps in. He won that quickest of the day. On the same tires he started the race with too, and still out in front of the pack. Shows the strength. Esteban Tobor Souza, thanks for tuning in. Up to 70 laps into this race once we get back to the start-finish line this time by. Sitting at 3 cautions so far, the UAW Ford 500. So 70 laps in. And we are getting very close to our second wave of green flag pit stops. Gonna be able to go a few more laps. I'm gonna go to lap 73. I think that's gonna be my threshold. I said 73, 74. I would imagine we're gonna see guys start to pit here. Probably not this time by, maybe 71, 72. So I pitted a lap after we started to see guys pit. Gordon to the inside, trying to take the lead from Mark Martin. It's going to be close if he's going to lead this lap at the line. He definitely got underneath the 6, trying to side draft him. Mark is going to hold on to the lead barely, and then cut back underneath to block him off. And Gordon got close, taking it away there for Mark Martin. Had enough of a run to get underneath him, but couldn't complete the pass. And here he comes again off turn 2 as Mark Martin nearly turned himself. That could have been disastrous. Here comes Tony Stewart to the outside. And he's going to get to the lead. See if Martin can slingshot back around him again. Off turn 4. All the way down to the bottom and clear in the tri-oval. Gonna hang on to it. Oh, Stewart hard into the back of Sterling Marlin, who was coming off of the pit lane. Kurt Busch might have had to check up, and the caution's out as a wrecking in turns 1 and 2. And that's going to trap a few cars a lap down that were just getting out of the pits as Mark Martin was making his way. Oh my goodness, Jamie McMurray up and over. That crash was even behind where Stewart and Marlin got together. The 175 gets ran into hard by McMurray. McMurray topples in front of Newman and other cars. And somebody else flipped further back too. My goodness. Carnage everywhere. And now we can make it 4-tire stop instead of 2 tires because we're going to be pitting during the caution. So 4 tires and fuel. And no adjustments here for Mark Martin. The big one at Talladega. At lap 71 for our 4th caution of the race. A lot of cars on pit road that hadn't pit yet. Some going to get trapped a lap down. There might be some cars that were still getting up to speed that weren't lapped yet that are actually going to cycle to the lead. So I'm not sure where we're going to end up here, even if we win the race out of the pits. But we got to win the race out of the pits first and then find out. Fast, clean stop here by the 6 crew, but not as fast as Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, and J.J. Yalen. Like Kyle Busch stayed out. Some lap cars at the bottom of the track. We might see some debris yellows here too. There was a lot of heavy impacts in that crash. 5 cars trapped a lap down. Lap 76 restart. Green flag back in the air. Martin quickly jumping to the bottom. A lot of lap cars trying to get in the mix here, get back on the lead lap. If we see any more yellows, big block there on Dale Jr. And back to the outside in front of Greg Biffle. Back to the bottom again in front of Earnhardt. Kyle Busch out in front, first time today. He's leading laps. 3rd Hendrick car to lead today. 4 wide and turns 3 and 4 up ahead. And there's trouble somewhere. They were squeezing each other up into the wall. It might have happened behind us. Debris. Tony Stewart's race car, 5th caution now. My goodness. They got fanned out quickly on that restart. Somebody's going to get the free pass, get back in the lead lap. Busch still leads. Lap 80 restart. Green flag back in the air again. And that might not be the last debris caution following that last wreck we just saw. 3 wide to the bottom. I don't know if Martin got a spot back or not there. But it looks like we have more debris. And this time it is off Sterling Marlin's race car. It looked like his back bumper cover came off. Stewart ran into the back of him, so that's how Tony's got the damage as well as the 14. And obviously McMurray flipped behind us, so he's probably got a lot of damage too. Oh, there goes Stewart's hood. Are we under caution again? Yeah, okay. Right as we were taking the green, we didn't even get the green flag yet, and his hood fell off. Oh my goodness. We didn't even get the green, and his hood flew off, and we were still making pace laps. I think it hit the top of my car, because I felt my controller vibrate, but I didn't run it over. So I won't have a flat tire. Oh my goodness. 3 debris cautions after the big one, and now we're up to 7 cautions in the race all of a sudden at Talladega. We're not even halfway yet. And it looks like everybody in front of us just pitted. Martin's staying out, so I don't think Martin's probably going to be one of the first cars to pit road then. Now there's only 3 cars a lap down with all these guys getting the free pass. Green flag back in the air. I think I changed 4. Alright, this will split the strategy up a little bit. Good launch on the restart that time. Got in front of the lappers. That's one way to leapfrog. And we'll see if we end up getting any more debris cautions or not. Big block on Paul Menard there. A lot of lap cars in the mix of the lead lap cars. Martin just trying to stay in front of everybody. They are 3 deep, a lot of rows deep. We already had the big one. Oh, Martin got loose. Martin got loose off turn 4. He saves it. Oh my goodness. Paul Menard gets by to get his lap back. And everybody else drives on. I didn't try to turn across his bumper. I got aero loose, I think, off turn 4. Car got real light. We're okay. Everybody else checked up behind. My goodness. $100 to go at the start-finish line this time by. Well, I guess now's a good time to take our first field pass of the race today. And we'll swap back to Matt Kenseth in the 17 car first. It was back at the 29th place position at lap 89. Realized I was 3 wide middle there. Oh, Jeff Gordon's way back in the pack. Yikes. You okay? Kenseth's moving. 17 car's got a little bit of speed. Everybody's just kind of moving up out of our way. Finding holes. And up to 14th all of a sudden. Aren't we just in like 27th? 2 laps ago. About an hour into this race, almost halfway home. 7 cautions in the UAW Ford 500 at Talladega so far this afternoon. We're about an hour and a half away from our live commentary stream of the Watkins Glen NASCAR Cup Series race. One more lap with Kenseth, and then we will swap to another Roush car. I'm surprised Jamie McMurray's still in the race after flipping, to be completely honest. Might drop to him next. I'm not sure where he's at. He's probably at the back of the pack. I would imagine Greg Biffle's still in front of us because I don't see him anywhere. I mean, he was in the top 10 earlier. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's still there. Waltrip next car up in front of Matt Kenseth here. Tony Stewart falling just outside of the top 10. Obviously having damage on his car. Oh, the Jamie Mack we go. And he's in 26. Imagine flipping, still running on the lead lap. That is what has happened with Jamie McMurray. Somebody looks like they have blown an engine and they're trying to limp back to pit road. Just getting off turn 4 right now. Pack definitely split up into 2. Murray all the way to the bottom. 3 wide. And a little bit of contact there with Dale Jarrett. Blends up into 21st. I wasn't sure if Jeff Burt was going to give us enough room there getting in at a tight angle. And if I would have lifted, I probably could have kept it off the 88, and I tried to drive out of it, and I made slight contact with him. Middle of the corner, you don't want to do that, but lucky we got out of it. Halfway home this time by. Big block by Casey Kane on Denny Hamlin. Murray saw that pull out of line, might get them both. It does. McMurray inside the top 20. Tell you what, in the draft, these Roush cars are pretty quick today. Probably could expect that. That's kind of par for the course. The super speedways. I was more in the car tomorrow era than the Gen 4 era with Roush at Daytona and Talladega. Murray now into the top 15. Kind of getting closer to his teammate Matt Kenseth too. The car doesn't look too beat up. From this angle, the front of it's probably all mangled. But it still drafts well. Staying in it. We'll have to swap to Greg Biffle next. Get back to the start-finish line this time. Kenseth pulling out, making a move on Waltrip finally. The 13th. He'll have enough to be able to clear him into the center of the tri-oval. Murray to the inside of the 55. And Greg Biffle up in 10th, so he is still in the top 10. Behind Tony Stewart and J.J. Yaley, a couple of Joe Gibbs Chevrolets. Menard's a lap down. On the back straightaway. Showing some speed, getting by Stewart, who's still without a hood, of course, blowing off during one of the more recent cautions. Hoodless and in the top 10. Joe Nemechek up here as well. Biffle going to get by the 01 of Nemechek as well as Kyle Busch. Tony Raines and Jeff Green running 4th and 5th. What a run for those two. The underdog performers of the day. Biffle fighting his way up there for right now. And he's going to move into P4. Dale Jr. in 3rd, just up ahead. As Mark Martin still controls the pack there at the front of the field. And remember, Mark Martin stayed out of the pits during those 4 cautions we had consecutively. And everybody pitted, I believe, during the last yellow, the 7th yellow. So everybody else can have a bit more fuel in their cars versus what Mark Martin's going to have in his. Martin leading too, so he's not able to save a whole lot more. I mean, we just didn't run many green flag laps, so I don't think we're going to be too much shorter on fuel than everybody else. Definitely going to have to go fuel only to try to make sure that we don't fall back too much further. Make sure we stay on the lead lap in case we get any more cautions, because we've had 2 yellows right around the edge of the pit window today. One in the middle of green flag stops and one just after green flag stops. Side by side for the lead, Kurt Busch catches and passes Mark Martin. Swap back to Martin at the start-finish line this time by Biffle and Earnhardt, along with Tony Raines, starting to draft up to these cars. So for the first time all day today, it looks like Mark Martin's going to have a teammate near him for the next little bit of time. Not, I mean, position-wise, 2nd and 3rd, but Biffle hasn't quite caught the 6 yet. 6 hopping in line right behind the 2, and Biffle started to reel him, stop reeling him in versus when they were side by side for a little bit. So, halfway out of gas this point in the run. Lap 71 caution is when we pit. So it's already been about 30 laps. Mark Martin going to take the lead away from Kurt Busch. That was the first laps Kurt's led today, though, enough to get 5 bonus points. Then Mark Martin right back into the lead in the next lap anyway. 11 likes on the stream. Be sure to hit that like button if you guys haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Middle going of the race. We have our live commentary stream still to come this afternoon as well. And 3 p.m. Eastern Standard start time for that one for Watkins Glen NASCAR Cup Series coverage. Busch on the outside of Mark Martin. If he completes the pass up there, it's going to be working wonders for him, but he's not going to be able to do so. But they were side by side long enough. Here comes Biffle, Earnhardt, Tony Raines, and Jeff Green. Biffle can get close enough behind these two. Kurt Busch and Martin trying to trade the lead back and forth with each other here. We're about to have a 6-car battle for the lead. Things got really separated on that last restart very quickly. Really quicker than any of the other restarts we've had today. Some of that could have been because of the lap cars, of course, down on the inside of the racetrack. The fact that Jeff Green and Tony Raines are up here, man, if they could pull off an upset, I'm all here for it. If we can't win this race, I'm hoping for somebody nutty to get a win. And for one of those two to be their first career NASCAR Cup Series victories. I think the 66 car is a Haas car, isn't it? For Jeff Green. I always like that Best Buy car. Best Buy's always had some good paint schemes over the years. Matt Kenseth notably winning the 2012 Daytona 500 with a Best Buy scheme. And then Elliott Sadler actually have a Best Buy die cast of his in, I believe, 2010. It might be 2009. Evernham, number 19, Best Buy car. Not sure if Dale Jr. has anything to say. He hasn't led yet, but he's up here now. I think I'm still the only Ford to lead a lap. I think Kurt Busch the only Dodge to lead. And then Harvick, Gordon, Stewart, and Johnson are the only other ones that I know of that have led laps in today's race. Even during the green flag pit stop cycles that we've seen. I haven't noticed anybody else leading today other than those 6. And we're 106 of 188 laps in, and we've had 7. Oh, Kyle Busch led also. That's another Chevy. I forgot he stayed out of the pits because he had short pitted, got the right caution before he went a lap down, and that's how he cycled into the lead and still in the top 10, I believe. Not sure where he was running before that, but I don't think it was in the top 10. Top 6 cars, all pretty much single file right now. But again, Mark Martin going to have to pit before any of these other cars. Don't know exactly when that's going to be, but you have to imagine it's going to be somewhat soon. Yeah, I think the 66 is a Haas also. I like how those underdogs of Raines and Green are working together on that outside lane as well. I don't even know what team the 96 is either. Maybe that's a Haas car too, I have no clue. It might be teammates, I don't know. Somebody's going to have to fact check that for me. Their teammates, they might pull off the front row 1-2 like David Reagan and David Gillen did at Talladega a while ago. 2013. Man, I started to believe that was 10 years ago already. Remember that like it was yesterday. Passing Carl Edwards on the last lap. They've come a long way. That was their first win as an organization, too. And they had the Fog win a couple years later with Chris Buescher. Now Michael McDowell winning a 500 and winning Indy within the last couple seasons. I mean, they were contending for the playoffs all season. They were hovering right around 16th in points. They got that win. Now they're locked in. It'll be interesting to see how far they can go. If they can make it out of the round of 16, they've got a good chance to make it to the round of 8 with the Dega race. McDowell and the Fords in general have just been really fast in super speedways this year. And then McDowell obviously being really good on road courses. It's going to be big. If he can pick up more playoff points today at Watkins Glen, he could compete for another win. I think he qualified 3rd. Definitely one of the favorites for today's race. We'll see how that's going to work out for him. So Biffle up to second, right behind his teammate Mark Martin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 96 is a Chevy. Earnhardt to third, by the way. Kind of pushed Biffle past Kurt Busch, then he got by him as well, and now Reigns is underneath the 2. Earnhardt to the outside lane. Biffle staying right behind his teammate. Biffle and Earnhardt trying to lead the first laps of the race. Really everybody except for Kurt Busch in this top 6. If they could take the lead away from Martin, would lead their first lap. Martin has to have led the most laps up to this point in the race, as we have about 78 laps to go this time by. Man, if we can... We're going to be right on the edge on fuel. So we definitely have to stretch this out as far as we can. We got 78 to go. We went about 35 laps that first run with 1 caution. And then we went a couple laps longer than that. We would have went to 73 with 2 cautions. So that would have been a 38 lap run. So I definitely want to go as far as I can here so we can try to make it on 2 stops. I think that's why everybody pitted during that last caution we had. Even though we didn't run that many green flag laps, I might have just opened up the window to make it on 2 more stops after that. And I think that's why they pitted. So we're probably going to need a couple more cautions if we're going to want to make it on 2 stops still. But staying out, we were able to get track position back because we lost the track position. We were hovering right between 6th to 8th there during those yellow flag periods. And we got it back by staying out, everybody else pitting. 77 to go right now. Closer we can get to 70 to go before we pit, the better. We're definitely not going to get all the way there. We're probably going to get to about 74, 75 to go, and then we're going to have to pit. I'll try to get to lap 115, which would be 74 to go. Oh, 96 isn't a Chevy. By the way, Reigns is in third. Earnhardt to second. Biffle falling back a bit. I think he's right in front of Jeff Green behind Kurt Busch in 5th. Earnhardt Nation, Junior Nation. Got to be on their feet here at Talladega as he tries to take the race lead away from Mark Martin. Almost got to the outside of the 6. Back down to the bottom just in front of Tony Reigns, trying to get a push and get another run going. It's going to be a fuel-only stop for Martin when he pits because he's going to be the first car onto pit road. I'd imagine everybody else going to pit within probably 5 to 10 laps after us, if I had to guess. Reigns underneath Earnhardt for second into turn 3. The fuel-only stop should keep Martin on the lead lap if we get a caution at any point during that next run. Ideally, if we can get a caution before we pit, then we can keep track position. Everybody would probably come in. That'd be even more beneficial for us. So Reigns got the second, but then Earnhardt going to try that crossover move off turn 2 to get back to the inside. Looks like there's slowly more cars catching up to this 6-car group at the front of the field. It's no longer 6 cars. Well, it is actually, never mind. Looking out of the rearview mirror, it looked like that second pack was a little bit closer to what they were. They're definitely getting there, though. A couple scragglers back there. Earnhardt not going to lead this lap. Going up to block the 96, looking for another run. 74 laps to go. And Mark Martin will pit this time by for a gas and go only stop. Got to make sure he does not lose that bottom lane. Kurt Busch underneath Reigns for third. Man, I really want to go one more to Can't do it. Can't do it. Got to make the late decision pit here. Got to stay committed to the strategy. Hope we get a caution or two. Try to get back out there. It'll be fuel only. Martin's only changed tires once today. Jeff Gordon's on pit road. So Gordon was the driver that blew that engine earlier. He was one of the drivers that was leading there in the early going. Tough break for Gordon. So he's out of the race. Again, a splash and go here for Mark Martin. '96 Hall of Fame Racing. Okay, there we go. That's right. That was Terry Labonte, wasn't it? Or not Terry. Terry Bradshaw. Terry Labonte. Terry Bradshaw owned that team, I think. So Martin obviously still out on the track, trying to get up to speed. Dale Jr. leading for the first time today at Talladega. 38 cars on the lead lap. Martin, the last of which, as he pits early. And if we get any cautions, we'll cycle back into the lead because we'll be able to stay out again. And if not, we'll cycle right back into the lead. And we will alternate through the other Roush Fenway teammates here during this break, with Martin waiting on everybody else to pit. And we will swap back to, well, we'll wait actually. Greg Biffle coming in. Only a lap after Mark Martin pitted. We'll wait for all of our teammates to cycle through pit stops, and then we will make those switches. Martin really stretched that last run out. Yeah, I mean, we only ran a couple green flag laps in that stretch of caution laps, so it kind of makes sense. I mean, they're closer on fuel than I am, especially those that are staying out again. Because Junior right now would be at 71 to go. If he makes it one more lap, he's going to have a really good chance of being able to make it. Again, 35 laps is kind of that threshold we're looking at. But under green, we're probably only able to go 32, 33. So then everybody would be short, but the more cautions we get, the closer that bubble is going to be to the end. Quite a few cars coming in there. Johnson's, Raines, Biffle, obviously. Dale Jr. staying out again. Jeff Gordon came into this race top 10 in points. Definitely going to be a big blow for him. His teammate Jimmy Johnson had an engine failure in the last race. That's why we have a 271-point lead. Finished 11th, still gained about 100 points on him. With his engine failure, that ended up taking place in the Coke 600 after he was one of the favorites and looked like one of the quick cars at the front of the field in that one. Well, we're definitely not saving fuel. With no drafting help either. I mean, you can't really, like 4 laps short. That's tough to save under green at Talladega. That's a 2.66 mile track. I mean, that's over 10 miles of gas we have to save to the end. That's a lot. We're probably going to need, if I had to guess, 1 caution would be close. 2 cautions would probably get us there. 3 would guarantee us. We've had 7 cautions already, but it has been a while since the last one. Michael Waltrip out to the lead with Dale Jr. pitting. First lap led for Mikey in the race. Caution for the 8th time. There's one of them. There's smoke over towards turn 1. Cars on pit road going to be out ahead of Mark Martin on this stop as Kyle Petty has spun. And actually, it's off of turn 2. So I saw smoke over towards turn 1, but Kyle Petty spinning on the back straightaway right off the exit of turn 2. Might have gotten loose and went around, and that is our 8th caution of the race. God, man, if I pit, I put myself back in traffic again, though, so I don't want to do that. There wasn't that many cars in front of us that pitted there. Dale Jr. going to cycle back to the lead. I think Jamie McMurray's up there in the top 10. 10th place for Mark Martin. I did not want to put myself back to about 38th. Topping off on gas that would have ensured us that we were going to make it on one more stop. I'll just bank on the fact that we're going to see 1 or 2 more cautions the rest of the race, and then I think we can make it from there. But we're going to need 1 to 2 more yellows if we're going to make it a 1 more pit stop. Nearly getting by Matt Kenseth there, getting up to speed. Got by a lap car of Kyle Petty, but that was it. Who had just spun. And Martin now going to be split 3 wide middle on the backstretch. 6 has speed. Furthest back in traffic he's been all day, though. Slightly older tires, with not taking any during that last stop. Big head of steam as he tries to find the lap car of Jeremy Mayfield and draft behind him. Already had one big one today. Definitely have to make sure, now that we're in the middle of the pack, that we don't get caught up in a potential second big one. Well, we're going to try to navigate through this. I mean, we got about 20 cars in front of us. Only 9 of which on the lead lap. The rest are a lap down. Sees parting on the bottom for Mark Martin. Going towards that middle lane, just kind of blending up into the outside instead. Comes out of the gas and still all over the 137. 4 wide in the tri-oval. First time we've been 4 wide today. We saw it in front of us at one point earlier, but splitting that gap, just trying to get by all these lap cars and not allow those leaders to pull too far away. Martin knows he's got to get going. Harvick nearly against the wall off turn 2. Kenseth pulling low, left the bottom or the top open rather for Martin. Squeezes between Kenseth and Stewart. Casey Mears up in the mix. There's McMurray. Martin back into the top 5. Earnhardt, Kurt Busch trying to pull away. Mears is a lap down. Jeff Green up to 3rd. Fastest lap of the day for Mark Martin that last time, 47.919. Goes out of line on green. Very quickly. Going low, Earnhardt blocks Busch. To the apron goes Mark Martin. Slides back into line. Junior trying to side draft the 6, but Martin takes the lead in 3 and 4. I did not think I was going to get through there as quickly as we did. This car's got some horsepower. Even though it's mitigated with the restrictor plate, but Jeff Green following Martin through the 8 and the 2. Green to 2nd. It was 61 laps to go. Mark Martin has now just clinched the most laps led. Borderline to make it a 1 stop the rest of the way. Potential fuel mileage race at Talladega. Jeff Green pushing the 6 off turn 2. Getting Mark a little bit out there on the backstretch as Green is clear for 2nd. The fact that we've changed tires just 1 time in this race. All 4 tires only been changed once. And we have made it to 60 laps to go. Caution definitely helps the fuel situation. I still don't think we can make it with just one. I think we were going to need 2 to 3. 3 for sure we would make it. 2 would still be borderline, but one caution with 3 to 4 caution laps, we were about 4 laps short. I just don't think that that's going to be enough, considering that we're back out in front again. We're going to take our final field swap of the race. We'll go back to Matt Kenseth first. He is in the 5th place position, looking to the inside of Earnhardt. Junior was just in the lead on that restart. Now he's back to 5th. Matt Kenseth, who hasn't led today, is going for 2nd to the inside of Jeff Green. Biffle led, I believe, during green flag pit stops. Or no, he did not. Junior was leading at that time. Kenseth in the tri-oval going for his first lead of the day, and he's got it. 5 bonus points for the 17 car, who came into the race top 10 in the standings. Clears his teammate Mark Martin at the front of the field. Get Mark in the draft a little bit here and have him try to save a bit more gas. Riggs was in the top 10. Good run for him. Yeah, we got quite a few underdogs up here. Tony Raines must have fell back during the pit stop cycle. But Jeff Green's still up in 3rd. Look at him go. Jeff Green. And we're under caution again. And this will save even more gas. 58 laps to go. We're under our 9th caution of the race. Oh boy. Yep. 3 wide, and I saw that car in the bottom moving up, and I'm like, that's not going to be good. Oh, it looked like he got loose and just compiled the other 2 cars he was outside in the wall with him. It looked like they were all at the back of the pack, too. Oh boy. Well, this gets us closer on fuel. It's not guaranteed we can make it to the end, but we're getting there. One more caution, I think we can get there from here. Everybody's staying out again. Green flag back in the air. I think Mark Martin may have pitted. He was a little bit behind. I think they pitted him. So he's going to have to come from the back again, it looks like. But at least he can make it on one stop regardless of how many yellows or lack thereof we have in the rest of the race. But now Kenseth without a teammate. Didn't get a great launch to get in front of the lap car of Jeremy Mayfield there. 137 going to get by as well. Jeff Green looking for the lead on the bottom. Kenseth going to block. Look at that mess out of the rearview mirror. Jeff Green to the inside. Can the Haas car get to the lead and get 5 bonus points? Kenseth side drafted him, but it's Jeff Green who leads for the first time at Talladega with 53 laps to go. And Earnhardt is going for 2nd as Kenseth falls back to 3rd. Green getting a good draft off of those lap cars that got out in front of Kenseth on the restart. Big run for the 17 car down the backstretch. Get back past Earnhardt for 2nd. Green's season moves to the bottom. Now looking to get by that lap car in the 137 up on the outside as well. Put him a lap down again. And Kenseth going for the lead to the outside. Getting a draft off of Jeremy Mayfield. Kenseth clear, pulling to the bottom. We'll go one more lap with Kenseth. We got to swap to Biffle and McMurray up before the end of this race as well. Kenseth back in the lead. Mayfield blocking. Kenseth trying to get around him. Yeah, Robbie Gordon's up. He might be a lap down. I don't know. I don't know where Robbie Gordon in the 7 car came from. Kenseth's going to get by Mayfield. Put Jeremy a lap down. He is in the free pass position if we see another caution. And Matt Kenseth leading the race. And Jeff Green in second. And having another big run in the tri-oval as he closes quickly. We'll go to Jamie McMurray in the 26 car, who is in 5th place. After flipping earlier in the race, Jamie Mack is up in the top 5. Jeff Green back to the lead in turns 1 and 2. Santiago Kit, thanks for tuning in. Yep, 1 hour till our stream starts for the next race. A little over an hour yet. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will go live for that. So we're still pacing well to get this race done in plenty of time as we have 50 laps to go at the start-finish line this time by. Probably get this race done about 15 to 20 minutes before our live commentary stream begins. Enough for me to get a little snack beforehand, so that's good. Timed that out perfectly. Probably could have gotten through it a little quicker if we didn't have 9 cautions in the race. But I don't think we've seen the last yellow yet to this point either. Tony Raines creeping back in on McMurray, who just can't reel those cars in out in front of him right now. Definitely losing touch of him. He'll stay to the outside and let Raines get by for 5th place. Try to draft behind the 96 if he can get down behind him before Kyle Busch fills the hole, and that's exactly what happens. Jeff Green leading the way with less than 50 laps to go at Talladega. That's crazy. Already 2 seconds back. Green and Kenseth are pulling away with it right now. Mayfield's still staying up there with them the lap down as well. So they've got a 3-car draft going on. McMurray to push the 96 on the back straightaway. Still pushing them into 3 and 4. Now pulling out of line, trying to make the pass. Remember, Sterling Marlin has a little bit of damage from earlier. Murray hung on that left rear corner panel maybe a little too much. Couldn't clear the 14 as a result. Still a little bit too far behind this other lap car up here, as well as Brian Vickers. We'll just keep McMurray in 5th as much as we can on Raines, but Raines going to get back to the inside instead. McMurray might be close enough to draft the lap car in the backstretch. Might pull him back past the 96 DLP car as well, and that is the case. Well, the good news is no fuel situation for Mark Martin to the end of this race, with pitting during that last caution. Just got to get him up there now. We will swap to Greg Biffle next, who is in 14th. Mark Martin has worked his way to 12th, assuming Hamlin's on the lead lap behind him. Over the inside of the 11. He's going to get to 13th. Denny Hamlin is on the lead lap. Kenseth back to the lead at the front of the field as he got by Jeff Green that last lap. I mean, all 4 Roush cars being in the top 13 this late in the race is pretty good, especially at Talladega. They haven't really been near each other all day today for the most part. Biffle Martin kind of have for the last maybe 20-30 laps or so. Before that, not so much. We're going 3 wide to the inside. Still 3 wide. Ely trying to side draft the 16 car. I think Greg Biffle's going to move into the top 10 here shortly. remember Sadler was a lap down earlier. I don't know if he still is or not. Drafting the tri-oval. Behind that 38 car. Pulling out of line. Sadler really crowding Biffle. And that is for 10th. And now that draft off Tony Stewart's going to be enough for Biffle to clear the 38. 3 Roush cars in the top 10. Martin the only the only Roush car not in the top 10, and that is just a few positions back where you see Biffle picking him up and putting him down. We'll go one more lap with the 16 car this time by. Biffle to push Kyle Busch in the tri-oval, getting past the lap car. Biffle's moving. Still pushing Kyle Busch into turns 1 and 2. Up on that outside lane as well. Now to the back straightaway. Biffle pulling out, side drafts Busch. Pulling out on Reigns and McMurray, 3 wide. Greg Biffle into the top 5. Barely going to be able to clear those cars in his rear view now. Still 3 wide just behind the Biff. So goes back down to block Kyle Busch again. So we will drive as Mark Martin for the rest of the race now, as we have 43 laps to go at Talladega. He's in 13th. He's 4.2 seconds off the lead. You see 3 wide just in front of him as well. And at the back half of the top 10, Matt Kenseth leads. Mark Martin's already clinched the most laps led in the race, so 10 bonus points. Everybody has to pit one more time. So we have not seen the final pit stop yet today. I still don't think we've seen the final caution yet either. No way we're going to go over 60 laps green to the end, considering we've had 9 cautions to this point in the race so far. So I'd imagine Martin would have had a 4-tire stop that last time. So we've only changed tires twice. Should be a fuel-only stop next pit stop, which could get us a little bit more track position too with doing that. Especially assuming that's going to split the field up a little more. But we're going to be one of the last cars to pit. Considering we pitted during that last caution, nobody else did. I'd like to get down to about 32, 33 to go before I pit, just to ensure I'm going to make it. Martin finishing 10th in that first Talladega race this season, looking for redemption to try to get the win. For winning the Daytona 500 that started the year, with that being a super speedway race. 40 laps to go, though, for his teammate Matt Kenseth at the front of the field. And again, no Roush car other than Martin has won so far this season for the first 15 races. Martin with 8 wins, most in the series. And of course, comes in as the points leader. 40 to go. Those cars side by side up there, and we might be able to catch them. That lap car wasn't going to be fast enough for us to draft with and try to catch these guys, because we kind of blew around them and are pulling away from him pretty quickly. So close to being able to draft off Tony Stewart. Looks like Sadler just passed him back on the outside. 3 wide, a little bit in front of him. Need the stall and the holdup Mark Martin needs. So close to the back of this group. To get him up to about 4th, and there's a little bit of a breakaway, especially out where Jeff Green and Matt Kenseth are. Don't know if Jeremy Mayfield's still up there with them or not, but Mayfield, of course, not on the lead lap. Stewart gets back by Sadler through 3 and 4. And Martin definitely close enough to the 38th to draft in the tri-oval. So here we go. And Vickers is on the lead lap too. That means there's 4 Roush cars and 4 Hendrick cars in the top 13. And 2 of the Joe Gibbs Chevys of Stewart and Yaley. Vickers was a lap down because I'm still in 13, so Vickers not on the lead lap. 3 wide, Johnson not going to be able to get to the bottom. Mark Martin behind his teammate McMurray. All 4 Roush cars into the top 9 now. Martin right behind the 26. Oh, got into him. Did not want that to happen. I was going to try to bump draft him, and I had so much of a run. To let him pass. Try to get back in line behind him again. See if this transition will work, and it does. Sadler gave enough room for the Roush cars to line up, so now you got 3 Fords nose to tail with the Robert Yates Ford of Sadler behind the 26 and the 6. Big bump draft on the back straightaway though for Mark Martin to the back of his teammate Jamie McMurray, still pushing him all the way through. Turns 3 and 4. Oh, little Jamie baby. Flipped earlier in the race during the big one. About 40-ish laps in, and now... Actually, that was clear. That was the lap 71 caution. Martin pulling out of line on him. Well, this time it's for good. Gets by Kyle Busch for 7th as well. Mark Martin moving his way through the field. Nobody pulling down to try to block the 6. And he's going to be 3 wide for 3rd going into turn 3. Biffle back in line behind him. Mark Martin is working his way forward. Mayfield and Green have lost Kenseth. And you have Roush Fenway Racing now 1, 3, 4, and 8 in the running order. Green to the inside of Jeremy Mayfield. 2 seconds off the lead is Mark Martin as he closes the gap behind him. And now to the share draft. And we'll see if the Chevy and the Ford can work together to get up there. Looks like Tony Raines moved past Dale Jr. to get back into 5th again. Mark Martin to bump draft Jeff Green. 35 laps to go, this time by Talladega. And the fuel window, where there's a couple cars on there right now, is just opening to the end of the race. So Kurt Busch coming in. It looks like it might be Tony Raines actually coming into the pits. The cycle all the way through is going to be the next question. And Mark Martin going to go back to the bump draft behind Jeff Green. Going to plan on staying out again. This time by Kenseth finished 2nd in the Coca-Cola 600 in our last race as well. Greg Biffle coming into pit. Are short pitting. They're pretty much right at the edge of their fuel run anyway. They're probably pitting because they need fuel at this point, not so much that the window's open, but it's a risk. If they go a lap down and we catch another caution, it's the only reason we even have lap cars to begin with in this race today. Yep, race on the USA Network today. Catching a lap car or two there in front of him. 2 cars, it looks like, that have already cycled off the pit lane. "31 laps to go this time by." Oh boy! They checked up. I don't know why Jeff Green checked up, but Mark Martin got into the back of him. And they're losing time, so they might as well come into the pits, which is exactly what is going to happen. Cannot speed. Almost did, but not quite. And it will be a fuel-only stop for Mark Martin, trying to gain that time that he was still about 2 seconds behind Matt Kenseth, especially after making contact there with Jeff Green getting into 3. Gas and go. 1 can. That'll be enough to top off. Martin doesn't need as much fuel because he pitted more recently than everybody else, so that will also shorten the stop up a little bit. And off and away he goes in 6th. Only 5 cars on the lead lap that still have to make their final stop, as we have 31 laps to go at the Talladega Superspeedway. Maybe we have seen the last caution today. Kenseth staying out of the pits again. We've cycled through green flag pit stops earlier, but didn't get even a full lap in before a caution came out following the green flag stops at the very beginning of the race. So the 5th and final stop in the books here for Mark Martin. 3 fuel-only stops, 2 4-tire stops throughout the course of the race. Matt Kenseth from the lead is coming in. J.J. Yeley was on the lead lap there as Martin blows past him. So I believe each of the top 4 that still had to hit pit road is on their way in. Jamie McMurray also stayed out longer. He's on pit road. Oh, it's Sadler. There would have been one other car that also would have came in. I don't think Sadler's led today. I don't think he's going to win the race out of the pits, though. Let's leave that lap. Kenseth was kind of further out ahead than any of those other cars. And Mark Martin light years ahead of the rest of the pack right now. Matt Kenseth's going to be the only one remotely close to him, but Martin should easily still be able to take the lead from Kenseth. At least you would have to hope, if you're Mark Martin, that is the case, that you have gained at least 2 seconds. There's McMurray, Sadler. And there's Kenseth on the apron. Mark Martin to the lead at Talladega with 29 laps to go. Well, we kind of just sit and wait for the field to kind of get back into a pack again. It's going to be a little bit before they catch Mark Martin. Fuel only stop propels him from 3rd to 1st. And the guy who has led the most laps today, getting the 10 bonus points, now trying to go for a max points day with the win on top of it, and that would be Mark Martin. And he get his 9th win of the season. And the first at Talladega in the 2nd race here already in the first 16 races of the season. about 3.5 seconds back to Matt Kenseth. And then Kenseth's got a few seconds back to Jeff Green and everybody else in that pack. A little bit further back. He's got good single car speed, but by himself, I don't know. I mean, Kenseth had some lap cars he was able to draft with, so he was kind of able to pull away a little bit, but now those lap cars aren't there with him anymore. So Martin and Kenseth will get eaten by the lap, or not the lap cars, but the lead lap cars eventually, but it's going to take some time. I mean, I was like 0.8 of a second slower than the pack there that last lap, so it's only going to be a few laps before they catch up completely. Is it 2:33 right now? I didn't realize it was that late already. Oh, caution is out again. Late at Talladega with about 27 laps to go. Our 10th caution of the race. Not sure what happened there. Oh my gosh, he blew a tire or something? 103 car was down on the apron, and then a piece of debris came up off the back of the race car. Looked like he had a tire going down and started shedding parts and pieces. Oh boy. Well, the giant pack has gotten closer a little quicker than what we were anticipating. It's less laps for Martin to just kind of coast up at the front of the field. He's got 3 teammates in the top 4, McMurray in the back half of the top 10 still, following those green flag stops. Everybody's good on fuel to the end of the race now. 23 laps to go at Talladega as the green flag is back in the air. Oh boy. Martin got in front of the lap car of Brian Vickers. Handful of lap cars that were on the bottom lane. They will be there for every restart from now to the end if we get any more, except for the restarts with 10 or less laps to go. Casey Kane to the bottom. Believe he's a lap down. Martin's going to be split 3 wide as Brian Vickers gets to his outside. Oh boy. Little contact there with Casey Kane. That slowed Martin up a little bit more. Kenseth still trapped behind Marlin and Robbie Gordon, who are a lap down. Jeff Green trying to get to the inside of Kenseth for second as they get up to speed on the front stretch. 22 laps to go. Kane and Vickers looking for a quick yellow to get their laps back. Kenseth in second, drops to the bottom behind the 6 to 14. And the 123 up on the outside are a lap down. Kurt Busch lead lap, working himself into the middle lane. Oh, and he got loose. Might have had contact there. Kurt Busch sideways, saves it. And the 3 cars at the front are breaking away. 21 to go this time by. Jeff Green, Matt Kenseth side by side for second behind Mark Martin. And now Green is clear for P2. Caution again off turn 4 of the wrecking. Unless we have another debris caution in the late going of the race. They all got bottlenecked up from Kurt Busch. And it looked like debris off Michael Waltrip's race car, bringing out our 11th caution as he has lost his hood. So 11 caution flags in today's UAW Ford 500 at Talladega. We will have a restart with less than 20 to go as Mark Martin leads Jeff Green, Matt Kenseth, Dale Jr., and the rest of the field. And that allowed for Vickers and Casey Kane to keep their lap. Free pass, I believe, would have went to Sterling Marlin. Dave Blaney's the first car lap down in the restart as we are back to racing with 18 laps to go at Talladega. Another good restart for Mark Martin, getting down in front of the lap cars of Dave Blaney. 23, 3 wide up there towards the outside. Jeff Green trying to pull clear. Green gets sideways now as he gets clipped as they were almost 4 wide off turn 2 and Martin's running away. Green was in second. He held the whole pack up except for Martin, Dave Blaney, and Sterling Marlin, who were ahead of it. Blaney and Marlin are a lap down. So I guess, unless that's a lead lap car, I can't tell who that is. No, it is Marlin. So maybe Marlin didn't get the free pass. Dave Blaney going to get back on the lead lap. So he's side by side with the 6. He's going to buy Martin a little more time. I'd like to think they're still going to catch the 6 car as he's 2.8 seconds ahead. These lap cars aren't going to be quick enough for Mark Martin to be able to draft with and kind of stay ahead of everybody else. And it's only 3 cars versus a lot more than that in that pack. Mark Martin just wants to keep the track position. Keep these lap cars 14 to 22 just behind him. So come up on 16 laps to go. Half a second quicker was that giant pack versus this 3-car group at the front of the field. So they'll probably get to us with about 9 or 10 to go. We'll have to fight them off from there. I'm hoping with those couple cars behind us, they're going to catch Dave Blaney pretty quickly, but I'm going to have to get by him. It'll give me enough time to be able to make my move to go down and block. So I definitely want to keep Sterling Marlin behind us as well. Yeah, I thought Sterling would have had the free pass. He must have fell back a little bit further than what I thought before that caution came out. Michael Waltrip. A little bit of a draft, obviously, with Marlin behind the 6, so they're definitely pulling Dave Blaney. That pack was only 2/10 quicker that last lap than Mark Martin. And the less laps we have to battle with anybody, obviously, the better for us. Marlin kind of helping the 6 out just a little bit. Question is, though, will we still stay green to the end of the race? Or will we get a 12th caution? A bunch of the field back up again. We're at 15 to go. And again, if a restart happens with 10 or less laps to go, the lap cars won't be to the inside of the lead lap cars, which would give everybody else a better chance to try to hang Martin out to dry. A little harder with the lap cars in there. As you saw, they were 4 wide off turn 2, and they kind of stacked each other up. Martin 3/10 slower than the leaders that last lap. He's got a 1.9 second advantage with 14 to go. It's the calm before the storm. That's what this is. "20 minutes from the start of our live commentary stream for today's Go Bowling at the Glen NASCAR Cup Series race, so be sure to tune into that live stream again immediately following this Talladega race on NASCAR 07 on the channel. Not even going to look at the point standings following the finish of this race. We're just going to go through the top 10 in the running order and then get on out of here so I can move my laptop into my kitchen/living room area and get that stuff ready to go here in 20 minutes time. 13 to go. Pack really spaced apart quite a bit too with all that contact they made, and probably all trying to get by those lap cars too. Mark Martin doing well for himself. 12 to go. 1.4 seconds ahead still. I'm not even sure who that first car is going to be to try to catch Mark either. I'll have to wait and see. I'd imagine it's either going to be Jeff Green or his teammate Matt Kenseth, and they still haven't caught Dave Blaney yet. Slow him down a little bit too. Marlin trying to get back on the lead lap if he can. He's not going to be able to have enough speed to get to Martin by himself. So again, Sterling Marlin not on the lead lap. 11 to go for Mark Martin to get his 9th win of the season. A dominant performance today at Talladega. He's got the fastest car, something he hasn't had the last couple races, but he is out there. He started on the pole and was one of the ones to beat early. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the point standings will be updated at the top of the screen for the start of the next race too, so... Plan on running a NASCAR 7 Cup race in Michigan tomorrow on the channel. And we'll start that at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so tomorrow evening. Tune back in for more NASCAR 7. Again, Michigan's our next race of this Cup Series season. The point standings will be ready to go there, but we do have to get out of here quickly following this one. 10 laps to go, so I was thinking 9 to 10 to go. They'd catch Martin by now, but... Martin single file here, even with just one other car. Sterling Marlin, he's doing a great job hanging on. All it's going to take is one car to catch Marlin in the draft and just slowly start to chip away at it. There will be a battle here before the end. The more cars that get into this pack, the bigger the runs are going to be for Mark Martin to try and block. Nine laps to go. 1.1 second lead, only a tenth quicker was that other group. They're going to have to pick up. They got to get more cars aligned together and they'll catch Martin quicker, but for right now, that is not the case. Martin just kind of tandeming here with the 14, the lap car of Sterling Marlin. A contact on the restart. We initially restarted with 18 to go, so we have ran 9 laps since the caution. And it just got all held up. Martin was ahead of it. And contact when they were 4 wide. I didn't think they fell as far back as they did, 2.8 seconds, but Martin's got enough pace with Sterling Marlin and running nose to tail consistently that he is definitely pulling. Looking to keep it that way. 0.8 of a second is the difference. At the line, 8 to go. It looks like Jeff Green potentially is that second place car. I can't tell who's in third behind him. It looks like Kenseth. So Jeff Green, Matt Kenseth will be the first two trying to catch Mark Martin. Sterling Marlin off turn 2. Losing a little bit. Jeff Green getting the draft off the 14. He'll probably pull low and try to pass him into turn 3. It's exactly what's going to happen. Maybe going up to side draft him a little bit. And he is very close to Mark Martin's back bumper here. Martin going to try to break that draft. So 66 and the 14 are side by side. 7 laps to go at the line. Green has cleared the 14 and he's got a run on Mark Martin. 7 laps left. Going to the bottom, Martin to block, and the race is on now for the win. And the UAW Ford 500, Martin clipped the apron, he went up the track, and Jeff Green's going to take the lead in 1 and 2. And now Matt Kenseth, again, he's trying to close up there in third. And a giant pack in 4th on back is also starting to close the gap. Martin slingshotting right past Jeff Green again into 3. Green has led a couple times today, so you know he's got speed as he tries to pull off the upset. Oh boy. Got back into Mark Martin there. Martin going to hold on to the lead though. Kenseth. Biffle's coming. It's like Dale Jr., Kurt Busch. Oh boy, that... oh my goodness. Oh boy. Jeff Green tried to take it 3. Every time I move up, there's somebody there. That got close a couple times. Green looking low. Martin trying to crowd him. Oh, there's contact. Green loses a little bit of time. 5 laps to go at the line. It's Kenseth and Martin at the front of the field. I think Green's still in third. He's going to have to lead that pack back up here against the Roush cars at the front for now. And Kenseth, who hasn't won yet this season, not just going to sit here behind his teammate. The sooner he can take the lead and try to control before the rest of that pack gets there, the better for him. And same here for Mark Martin, which is why he definitely doesn't want to give it up. Kenseth clips the apron, and he got a little loose in 3 and 4. And now Martin going to try to break the draft from the 17 in the trial oval as we come down to 4 laps to go at the line. Half-second lead. Jeff Green might be drafting off Kenseth. It's tough to tell for sure right now. Martin going low. He's going to break the draft from the 17 car for now. Martin pulling up a little early. I thought he might have been there. It's okay. All right, well, back at it again. And there's a conga line of cars coming. Oh, Kenseth got underneath the 6. Kenseth to the lead. 3 to go at Talladega this time by. No cautions on the final lap on this game. Martin crowding the 17 cars. He passes him back. The race is on now. All gloves are off. It's checkers or wreckers. Martin aggressively pulls up in front of the 17, trying to get back to the lead. And we are coming up on 2 laps to go this time by. Jeff Green again in third, trying to close the gap. Keep the car pinned to the bottom in the corners. It's going to be tough for Kenseth to pass on the outside unless he gets help from the 66. Tough to tell who Green's going to go with if he gets the chance. You'd have to ensure Kenseth and Martin running 1-2 with 2 to go at Talladega that they need to make sure one of these two win the race. No matter how selfish they get here at the very end. Kenseth on the outside. Nobody really there with him. Now Green pulls up. Martin saw that. He blends back in. He's trying to break the draft. I don't want him to get a run. Green's close now. He can really push that 17 if he wants. And those cars fourth on back, really hoping these guys get side by side on the last lap if they're going to want a chance to try to close. Kenseth so close to the left rear, corner panel. And now Green to the outside of Matt Kenseth, and he may get to second. They're definitely side by side for second. Martin's got 2 lanes to block as we're on the final lap of the UAW Ford 500, and a Ford is out in front. And he's got Matt Kenseth there with him. One more corner to go as we're half a lap from pay dirt. Kenseth back clear of the 66, trying to bridge a gap. 2 to 3 car length advantage. Can he pull a run off turn 4? And can Jeff Green give him enough of a push? Here comes Kenseth. He has a run, looks low. A block into the tri-oval by Mark Martin. It's not going to be enough, and Mark Martin is going to win at Talladega. Kenseth bounces off the wall, holds on to second in front of Jeff Green. And Martin gets it done. A dominant performance to win the second Dega race of the season. His first. Finishing 10th at Talladega earlier in the year. Had a faster car today. And capitalized with it. Qualified on the pole, and I don't think we were really outside the top 10 pretty much all day. 13th for a brief moment there with pitting, trying to make sure that we were going to make it on one more stop. cautions. We did get a few more cautions anyway, but we didn't get them till those final 25 laps, so I'm glad I did what I did. Because it ended up working out. It might have worked out anyway, but it would have been a little closer. We'll go through the top finishers quickly in today's race. A 1-2 finish for Roush Fenway Racing. Second straight second-place finish for Matt Kenseth. 110 laps led out of 188 for Mark Martin today. Jeff Green finishes third. Great run for him. Led 6 laps. Kurt Busch led 1 lap, finishing fourth. Elliott Sadler rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Dale Jr. led 11 laps, finishing in sixth. Tony Raines led 1 lap, finishes seventh. Solid run for him as well. Greg Biffle ends up 8th. J.J. Yaley 9th. And Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 10. 47 lead changes, 11 cautions, 3 hours, 34 minutes, 43 seconds. Total time of the race. Average race speed 139.74 miles per hour. We had a total of 27 cars finishing on the lead lap. And only 2 DNFs, Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon. The only engine failures, Gordon led 2 laps, Labonte didn't lead 1. Lap 91 is when Gordon blew up, and lap 37 for Bobby Labonte. Might have even got caught up in that big one, and I think that might have taken Labonte out. And we get to see Mark Martin in victory lane. Who's that with us? Jamie McMurray? All right, that is going to wrap up the live stream. And in a little over 5 minutes, we will have our live commentary coverage of today's Watkins Glen NASCAR Cup race. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We'll have more NASCAR 07 tomorrow with the 3M Performance 400 at Michigan. And that will take place at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so hope to see you then. Again, thanks for watching. Have a good next 5 minutes, I guess, and I'll see you soon.